Hi, welcome back to Who Invited Marketing. Our guest today is Xilian, a senior product marketing manager at HubSpot. We talk about PMM challenges, wins at work, and working at HubSpot. But before we get into the good stuff, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify, drop a rating. Here's presenting Xilian. Hi, Shilin. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Hi, yeah. Nice to see you, and thank you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. I will start with the most fundamental question of our corporate lives. Please tell us about your journey into PMM.
Yeah, sure. So my journey actually started at a few different companies, spread throughout Boston for the most part. So I started at Toast, actually in customer marketing. And then after working customer marketing for a bit, I transitioned into product marketing at a company called edX. There I learned a lot about product marketing. I own two different products, and then transitioned into another ed tech company called Cengage, which is also headquartered in Boston. Worked in product marketing there for a bit. Got to work with a lot of students, which was really fun. And then transitioned to HubSpot, which I'm at currently as a product marketing manager. And I oversee the starter customer platform.
Incredible. Please describe which of the segments do you manage as a PMM at HubSpot?
Yeah, sure. So I mostly focus on down market. So that would be our free tier as well as our starter tier, which is really meant for really small businesses that are just getting started and want to have a platform that helps them with their sales, their marketing, and their service.
That's so much fun. You have also worked as a content marketer. Why did you shift into PMM?
Yeah, so I worked in content marketing and customer marketing before, and they're both super, super fun. And I think I used a lot of those skills as well in PMM. Shifting into PMM was mostly because I really enjoyed that strategic involvement and getting that holistic picture of marketing. Because in PMM, you sit between product, sales, customer success, and marketing. And I thought it was just super fun to be able to collaborate with all those different teams and get closer to the product.
Was it a well planned move or did it just happen?
Yeah, so I would say part of it was that it just happened where, I was at Cengage and I got to switch into this role. However, it was something that was really on my radar because I was really interested in PMM, and then an opportunity opened up and I took it, and I haven't left PMM since.
That's amazing. If someone wants to transition into PMM from another marketing role, what's the fastest way you think is the way to prove their value?
Simple. Get on a product launch. You can. I think that's a bulk of what we do as product marketers, and it's a really great way to exhibit a lot of those prevalent skills from strategic and critical thinking, creativity, stakeholder alignment, customer empathy, problem solving, adaptability, product management, organization, relationship building, communication, like all of those different skills. I think you can use in a product launch. And just from my own experience, I have historically jumped into product launches as I've joined a new company, and it's been a really great way to just show my value, as well as get to know other team members because you're under a tight deadline and everyone's working together to hit the shared goal.
Completely agree. Doing stuff is just way better than telling people that I want to be a product marketer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. HubSpot's free CRM is a major growth driver. How do you convert free users into paying customers without relying on aggressive sales tactics?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so many businesses want to understand how to best get customers to upgrade from their freemium models. And this is something that I've really respected about HubSpot because HubSpot's been doing this for a long time, much before I joined. And I do focus on that upgrade portion of the business. And it takes a lot of listening to the customer. So it starts by having good definitions of each ideal customer profile, ICP, in each tier. For example, what does your free tier look like? What does your basic tier look like? What does even your pro and enterprise tier look like? where are they similar? Where do they differ? What tools and functionality are they looking for? Is it a cost issue? Right? So once you've figured out web, social media, or even within the product messaging itself.
What a great detailed answer. I love talking about people's biggest success. What has been your biggest success till date as a PMM?
Yeah, it's a huge question. As called out in our recent earnings call with Wall Street this past quarter, HubSpot's starter product has seen upticks across the board. And this took a huge effort across marketing and product teams at HubSpot. And it was a huge focus of mine as well as the PMM that's on starter. So we took a look at every part of our starter product and made major shifts to our go-to-market strategy to inspire more founders to purchase starter to scale their businesses.
Got it. HubSpot has a strong PLG motion, but also has a large sales team. How does product marketing enable both motions to coexist?
Yeah, what I appreciate about HubSpot is that the company prioritizes its smaller customers just as much as its larger customers. So HubSpot was founded as a way to provide solutions to help SMBs grow better, and it will continue to live by that promise. So PMM at HubSpot actually reflects both of those priorities. So we have teams that are focused on upmarket growth and work closely with sales. Then we have teams like mine that are focused solely on PLG or product-led growth for our free and starter tiers, which are self-serve products. So we have much to learn from each other, and we often share those PLG learnings with the rest of the PMM team and vice versa.
I see a lot of PMMs contemplating whether they should get a marketing degree in order to break in. Where do you stand on this, and how important is a traditional marketing degree for breaking into product marketing today?
Sure. And I'm going to be a little biased because I do have a traditional marketing degree. And I studied marketing pretty much all 4 years of my bachelor's and then went straight into marketing. So I've had a pretty linear path. I will say, however, that at HubSpot and other companies that I've worked at, they prioritize the skills more than the degree itself. So if you can show those transferable skills that are related to marketing or specifically product marketing, which is even better, then I think that a lot of hiring like orgs now look more at those skills than they do at the degree. So I think degrees are probably less needed, but I will say having that degree on my resume has probably just helped in some ways. At this point, because I've worked at a few companies, I don't know if it matters as much. I think they mostly will just look at like the roles that I've had in the past few companies that I've worked at and like what I accomplished.
Yeah, entry-level roles focus more on what degree you have. Once you gain experience, it's just about the skills you have.
100%.
I do not have a marketing degree. So yeah, I come from an English honors background. So it has been completely different for me.
Right. And there's other ways to get certifications as well. Like HubSpot Academy has a certification you can take for inbound.
I have.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. So I took that as well when I was like 16 years old as a way to like upskill in marketing. But I think that it's something that we can take advantage of with all of the courses that are online, where even if you don't have a degree, you can definitely upskill.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to start your marketing career today, what would you do differently?
Actually, on that note, I think I would take more certifications and just take advantage of the more free time that I had when I was in college or even during parts of my career to upskill, because right now I'm quite busy in my job. So it's a little bit harder for me to like take that time off to like do those certifications and courses. That being said, I am in a Reforged course right now called Mastering Product Marketing, and it's really good. I highly recommend it. But yeah, if I were to restart, I don't think I would change my field of study, but I would definitely try to find other ways to get to be more knowledgeable across the marketing space before really jumping in deep into my career.
That's the only acceptable answer. Know everything before jumping in. So yeah, great.
Of course.
Those are really great tips. Walk us through a day in your life.
No day is the same in my world, which I love. However, when I normally log on, I will say like I start with checking my email, Slacks, calendars for meetings. I look through my tasks that I have in Asana, which is our project management tool. And then I create a plan for the day of what I want to accomplish. My role is highly social and collaborative. So I work across many channels as a PMM that's really focused on PLG. So some of those channels are product, email automation, web, SEO, competitive, international, our AI team. We have a HubSpot for startups team that I work closely with, our community team, I already said international, but our external agencies as well. There's a lot of different groups. And then I would say that my responsibilities can range from anything from developing our go-to-market strategies with KPI, figuring out the different plays that I want to make sure we're doing that has an intention and outcome with the KPI that's tied to it. I also work a lot on stakeholder management and brainstorming campaigns, creating playbooks, presenting decks to stakeholders, reporting, planning for our annual inbound conference every year, digging through customer research, making updates to the website, project management, managing budget. The list goes on and on and on. But it's really exciting work, and I really appreciate having such a supportive team as well.
Yeah, that is great. I just saw your inbound pictures. I think you shared on your LinkedIn, and those looked really fun.
Thank you.
I imagine it must have been great.
It's super fun. And this year it's going to be in San Francisco.
Awesome.
Yeah.
HubSpot is becoming AI first. And what are the ways in which you are using AI internally in the marketing function?
I just thought we love AI. We're not only integrating AI into many parts of our product, but we're also using it every day as a PMM team. And I personally use Claude a ton. I have found it works really well for marketing specific asks. And I really like the Claude project functionality, which is where you can upload everything about a specific product, i.e. overview decks, internal strategies, target audience, metrics, etc. And it's like having a separate employee who's an expert in that one product. Other tools that have become an integral part of my daily life is Gemini when editing things in Google Drive. I also use Perplexity for searching things online. And I really like Zoom Meeting Assistant. I know it's a very niche tool, but it really helps me focus on my meetings instead of taking notes while trying to listen. So that way I have these very beautiful summaries when I'm done with each meeting.
Great tips. If we had to write it down, the last one would be really great. Meeting tips.
Yeah.
What's the fastest way to differentiate a product in a crowded market?
Do your research. Do your research on what your actual differentiators are. Saying that you're cheaper is not specific enough. Saying you're an all-in-one platform is not specific enough. Back it up with things that are actually unique to your product.
Don't use buzzwords like supercharge and
yeah, like streamlining communications. Like, what does that
Yeah.
even mean? Everyone says that.
back it up with data and be as clear and as simple as you can.
Yeah.
How do you handle positioning when your product serves multiple personas?
Yes, often products do have multiple personas, and it's really important to segment those. Normally, you'll have a top persona who is the best for your business. Some of those indicators could be that they are the most profitable. They actually use all the features in your product. They provide growth opportunities, etc. So you want to decide if you want to just go after that single segment that you've ID'd, or if you want to go after all of them, but prioritize that top segment. So once you can do that, you can then create separate messaging and go-to-market plans for each of those segments.
So if someone has to go to not just one, but they have to, prioritize one, how do you think that homepage, that positioning thing is going to look like?
Right. That's a really good question. I think that if you do want to prioritize a few different ICPs, then your homepage should resonate with all of them. It may mean that you need to go a little bit more broad, but by going too specific, you could then isolate those other ICPs. Then once you get them into the funnel, let's say that you are putting them through an email workflow or something else, then you can get a little bit more specific. That's why the more data you have, the better, right? So they fill out a form and you can see that their company size is X number of people, or these are their goals. And you can split them up into those different segments. Then you can have a lot more tailored messaging that's going to resonate with each of those segments. But yeah, of course, if you want to target multiple, you need to have a catch-all way on your homepage to make sure that they're all coming in.
Yeah. As a PMM, which other team do you work really closely with? Is it product, CS, or any other?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, I work closely with the product team, of course, especially because I'm on the PLG space. So we don't really have an active sales team that's selling our products, right? So everything that we do needs to resonate with product. Because of PLG, I also work heavily with our email automation team, and our web team, because those are the two direct ways that we can communicate with our customers or our prospects, just because there's no sales rep or CSM that will directly speak to them. Other teams I work with are competitive, just to stay aligned with all the different competitive trends. I work with international because we are a global company. So, of course, everything we do has to have a global lens. And then I work with other teams like our community teams to make sure that we're actually building that community of founders that are excited to use the product, and our go-to-market strategy teams to make sure that everything is aligned and we're getting all of those analytics that can help us refine our marketing strategies. So lots of different teams, super fun to also work across these different channels and build those relationships.
The product is the one team that you mostly work with, right? Like all the time.
Product
If you
would
had to
probably
choose.
be, yeah.
Awesome. How do you measure your own impact as a PMM, especially when success is often a team effort?
This is so true. Yes. It is often a team effort, and we often don't measure our impact the same way that other teams do. So, for example, if you're email marketing, you can measure your impact directly by open rates, click-through rates. And that's wonderful that it can be so directly attributed. There are some spaces where attribution is definitely a lot harder, such as in brand marketing, customer marketing, and marketing, or product marketing, right? So because of qualitative data. So what that means is, if we're working on a launch, I may be at the end of the launch, noting, for example, how well it went and how.
That's so great to know, because I don't think many companies do that with their PMMs. It's just often a specific KPI or a very specific metric, and if PMM doesn't belong to that, it's very difficult.
I know there's definitely KPIs that PMM as a whole has. I think it's just really hard when you're working across a lot of teams to hold just me accountable. Like, as I said, for
Yeah.
Wall Street, we got really good earnings, but I shouldn't be the one held accountable just because the entire company did well. Like, it's really hard to separate those two. Or even if the company did poorly, not one person would ever be held accountable. So that's why we have both quantitative and qualitative metrics.
Got it. We talked about wins. What's been the toughest product marketing challenge you faced till date?
Product migrations. So that's essentially retiring your product, removing a lot of customers off a product or onto a different product. This is actually a really difficult thing to shut down a product, because similar to launches, they require a similar plan, like a go-to-market plan with email announcements and web updates, product updates, etc. Except they often have stricter deadlines, unhappy customers, and when there's no similar tool to migrate them to, it's very difficult to craft messaging that justifies why you are taking the tool away from them without giving them anything in return. It's also difficult to shut things down completely, as surprising as that is. So yes, it's very surprising when you still have folks enrolling and you're like, what? I thought we turned that off. And you're working with product to figure out all the ways you've deprecated the product, but there's one backdoor that someone found to get into the product, and it can be very messy, especially the older the products are, which that tends to be the case because lots of products that tech companies are shutting down tend to be older products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are so many new trends coming up in marketing. How do you stay on top of these trends without getting overwhelmed?
It's very easy to get overwhelmed. There's constantly new information. I definitely recommend being part of the Product Marketing Alliance, PMA. Currently part of their newsletter, and I see the events that they have. I try to tune into some of their events as well. I also am currently taking that Reforge course that I mentioned earlier called Mastering Product Marketing. Highly recommend checking that out as well. I'm subscribed to a few newsletters as well, such as The Product Marketer by Rory Woodbridge. Kyler Player has a good one on PLG. Seth Godin is a staple when it comes to just like general marketing trends. And what's really cool is that HubSpot itself has multiple newsletters as well. There's the Hustle that our CMO does and hosts. So like there's lots of different ways to like learn information. I'm trying to balance learning general industry trends and then also just learning from HubSpot itself because we have a lot of content we produce.
Yeah, HubSpot, I think, also has this podcast called Marketing Against the Grain. Yeah.
Marketing Against the Grain. Yep, that is hosted by our CMO, Kit Bodnar. It's very engaging. I highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah, I am an avid listener of that. So,
Wonderful.
yeah. What's the best compliment you've ever received about your work?
Like a 360 evaluation where different colleagues or stakeholders who I've worked really closely with all write a summary of what they thought I did well and then what they thought I could improve on. And I would say that this specific round of reviews was very interesting because I got a piece of feedback that I normally haven't received in the past. And that was about how transparent I've been on my team. I think this is really important because it's very easy to get lost in the weeds and perhaps go too fast and not keep everyone in the loop. But I think what makes gated by multiple people. So that really shows that this is something that I've been prioritized piece of feedback. And it also to have disparate projects happening at the same time and not always be kept up to date with what everyone's doing.
Love that for you. And especially because as PMMs, we need to streamline the communication as much as possible. So if your colleagues are saying that you're transparent, I mean, that's a great compliment. So amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One piece of advice for marketers who are looking to join HubSpot as a PMM, what kind of skills should they absolutely must have?
Oh, I love this question. If I had to pick the top 3 skills, they would be 1, proactiveness, 2, communication, 3, adaptability. I think those are the top 3 that I would pick just because in terms of proactivity, I think that there's so many things happening in the PMM world. It's very easy to get too far down a rabbit hole of just focusing on one specific channel when you're managing a lot of channels. So being proactive and saying, all right, this is where I'm seeing the product going. I think we need to focus on channel A and channel B, and I'm going to deprioritize these other channels really helps instead of just waiting. This is specifically around relationships where people feel and then the product launches can be insanely crazy in that changing on right? Where there's certain features that are being rolled back and you no longer can message with those features to all those, like you can't actually say that, or there's a certain issue with like.
Absolutely. And I love the stakeholder tip. It's so underrated, but it's really important. This is my favorite question. Name a company which is doing marketing really well right now. And you can't say HubSpot.
For example, after the Super Bowl, I put together like a list of ads that I really liked and shared them with the PMM team. That being said, some companies that really stand out to me right now, I think Duolingo is doing a really good job with their social media presence. Their Instagram and their TikTok videos are really funny, and they do a really good job of empathizing with the user, who's essentially someone who's probably interested in learning languages. They may not have a ton of time in their day. Sometimes they forget to log on and do their lesson of the day. And I think they've really like captured that feeling of like, hey, I want to do this, but it's really difficult to get into a habit. I think another figuring out ways to just make that. And it was really difficult because everyone else was on Spotify. So I can easily share that song. It's the idea of Spotify to summarize all of the music you've listened to for the whole year and then share that. I think that like a lot of.
Yeah, Spotify Wrapped also tells you a lot of things you didn't know about yourself. So you're like, oh, really? This was my top artist?
Yes. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this ad, but they had an ad of a bunch of, essentially it was an edited video of female soccer players, but they actually used AI to replace the female, like their heads with like male heads. And so when you're watching this video, you actually think it's a bunch of men's faces that are on their bodies, right? And at the end, they show you that they use this like AI deepfake technology to like switch it back to the French women's team. And it really put the spotlight on that like sexism and unconscious bias that we have in sports. And the reason I bring this up is because like that advertising stick where it gets at the heartstrings. It gets at something that's bigger than just the company itself. And they did it in such a beautiful, eloquent way that also had AI involved. It had like this modern technology involved.
And it's effortless. Like it's not effortless in the sense of work, but it's just easy how they've done it, I imagine. For this episode, I wanted to have a rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yes, let's go for it.
Describe product marketing in one word.
Positioning.
What's harder, convincing sales to use your messaging or getting customers to remember it?
Depends on if you're PLG or product-led sales. For me, it's all about getting customers to remember it. It means consistent messaging across channels and keeping that message beat and to the point.
What's the most overused CTA in marketing?
Learn more.
Love it. Slack or email, where do you do your best work?
Black.
Team Slack. You're stuck in an elevator with a skeptical buyer. What's your 10-second pitch for HubSpot?
So many companies provide software that helps solve one part of the business. However, HubSpot is the brain of your business that helps you with your marketing, your sales, your service, and more. And it's super intuitive to use. And if you don't take my word for it, 76% of our users have reported ROI using HubSpot.
I love that you're going to just throw data at that because if you don't believe words, believe the data.
Thank you.
You have 30 minutes to plan a product launch. What's your first move?
First move is to understand the scope of the product launch. Timelines, who's involved, what kind of go-to-market lift we have, the budget, the size of the product, right? Is the product net new or is it just new features? And who's signing off on the decisions?
Amazing. I think I have asked all my questions here.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, it's a good time to end the podcast. Thank you so much, Xilian. It was amazing to talk to you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much for your time. This was super fun.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Bye,
Okay.
everyone. If you found this episode helpful, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button on YouTube and drop a rating on Spotify. It really helps more marketers discover these expert insights. For episode updates and even more marketing wisdom, follow the Who Invited Marketing page on LinkedIn. And hey, if you have any guest suggestions or topics you'd like to hear more about, let me know in the comments or connect with me on LinkedIn. Thanks for tuning into Who Invited Marketing. I'll see you in the next episode.